What's up, everybody? This is Ryan with ExtremeCarts.com. Today we're going to be doing an install of the new Eco Power Kit. This is an AC conversion kit that is new with Eco Battery. This is a full motor controller package. You're going to get a 450 amp controller, a 5 kW motor, and a full wiring harness. Now there are different sizes of controllers you can get. You get a 350 amp, a 450 amp, and a 600 amp. You can also get a 4 kW motor if the 5 kW does not fit in your cart. Now we're doing this again on an EZGO TXT that already has an Eco battery installed. So I wanted to show you guys what this kit looked like when you receive it prior to unboxing. Eco has done a great job with its packaging. Product looks really nice. As you can see, I've already got a little excited. I did check out the motor, but this is essentially what it's gonna look like when you receive it. Now I'll unbox everything and show you guys what it's like. All right, we got everything unboxed, and my first impression of this kit is that it's really nice. The controller comes pre-mounted on this mounting plate. It comes with a heavy-duty 400 amp solenoid. Controller itself looks really nice. You get the 5 kW motor. It's got this nice Eco battery engraving on the top. You're gonna get a package of zip ties. You're gonna get a new 3-phase switch, a mounting plate that's gonna hold this switch along with your key switch. You have the main wiring harness, 2-gauge battery cables, and then the cables that are gonna go between the motor and the controller, which are also 2-gauge. Very excited to see what type of performance we get out of this kit, especially when it's paired with an Eco battery. Let's get to it. So first step to installing the Eco Power Kit is to remove some of the items off the cart. For us, we had to pull off the rear seat. That way we can access the motor. The motor has to come out from the top. You can't drop it down below. You're also gonna have to remove the seat. That way you can access your controller. I recommend taking a picture of the wiring of the motor along with the wiring that's gonna be here on the controller. That way, if you have to refer back to anything, you'll know where any certain cables belong. Once you have your cabling undone from your motor, there'll be 3 bolts on the side of the motor that need to come out. Once you get these 3 bolts out, the motor should slide right off the shaft. Sometimes motors like this one that have been on for quite a while, you may need to tap around the edges with a rubber mallet. You may need to wiggle it back and forth. Could be tight getting out of there. Definitely will require a little bit of manpower if it's been in for a long time. For the controller, I got that removed. You're gonna have to remove the controller, the solenoid, and the mounting plate that typically sits right here. It's all pretty self-explanatory how that comes out. Some of the bolts that were down here at the bottom were really corroded in there. Did have to use some heat and penetrating oil to get those out, but pretty straightforward otherwise. So I got the controller installed. It fits really nice where the old controller used to sit. There are 3 bolt holes that line up really good with some pre-existing holes in the TXT frame. The other one there is in the back behind the solenoid. Time to get the motor installed. I got the motor installed and it looks great in the cart. It is definitely a tight fit, but once it's in, it fits great. Eco provides some new hardware to install the motor. You actually have 6 bolts now that are gonna go in the motor. Unlike the prior motor that had 3, this one's really bolted in there, which tells me it's gonna be putting out a lot more power than that factory motor. Time to wire it all up. I'm about to start installing the wiring harness, but I wanted to show you guys this before the install. This is a complete harness replacement. So this is going to take place of the main harness that's currently in the cart. And Eco has done a really good job at labeling where each cable is gonna go. As you can see, everything is labeled, so there's no guessing. Really thought out in that manner. Should make it a lot easier. There'd be a lot of guesswork here if these weren't labeled. All right, let's get to it. I got the main harness plugged in. I've also connected up the encoder and temperature sensor. The rest of the harness is being ran under the solenoid and then through the framing here of the body, up the cart and into the dash. There's some cutouts up underneath the dash where you can snake all this in. You're gonna have to remove your ignition panel. You'll have to drill out a couple of these rivets. And from there, you're gonna wanna disconnect your forward reverse switch and then disconnect your key switch, which these two lines here are going to an accessory, so I'm leaving those connected. Then you're able to pull the new wiring right up. Everything's labeled on where it goes. So EZGO does provide you with a new plate to put in and a new forward neutral reverse switch and a 1, 2, 3 mode switch. That's gonna be really neat having 3 different modes to choose from. All right, let's continue on. Got the switch panel all set up. Looks really good. I'm gonna leave this disconnected until everything is fully set up. There are more than one spade terminal on the back of these switches, so I'm gonna make sure I have them put in the right spot. I'll follow back up at the end of the video just to let you guys know if I did or didn't have them in the right spot. That way you guys don't have to go through the same type of trial and error as I am. Next is gonna be the motor and controller cables. These are color-coded blue, yellow, and green. You'll see over on the motor, it is also color-coded blue, yellow, and green. Same over here on the controller, blue, yellow, and green. There's really no mixing up where each cable goes. There's also a letter indication on these. You'll see a V, W, and a U. This is also posted on the controller. So again, there's no messing up where each cable goes. I got the motor and controller cables installed. Look really nice. Don't have my wires cleaned up yet, so it might be hard to see them here, but they are all connected up to the controller. Next, we're gonna go on to the battery cables. These are also 2-gauge cables, and these are labeled really well. Battery negative. This one here is to the controller B-. The B- on the controller is right over here. And for the positive cable, has positive to battery, and then you have the positive to the solenoid. All right, the last step of this EcoPower install is to connect up the run tow switch. You will get a new run tow switch with your EcoPower kit, and it also comes with a nice mounting bracket. Find that this mounting bracket bolts really nicely right on the side framing of the bracket you get with the controller. There's already 2 mounting holes drilled out that should fit there pretty nicely. So we're gonna get it mounted there. All right, I got the run tow switch installed and it fits really nicely in this position. I love the bracket that EZGO provided for this switch. There's one thing of wiring here I didn't touch on, and that is the run tow power. That's coming from the solenoid. You also have the other line that is also labeled run tow power. And that does it for our EcoPower install. We got our new switches put up with our new switch plate. Controller and solenoid are all in place. One thing I wanted to touch on, and that is the motor. I had the motor sitting straight up and down, but as you can see, the corner here was starting to hit the frame. So I had to clock the motor forward a slight bit. This allows you to still have the 3 mounting bolts in position. That's typically what you find in most motors. All right, so that does it for our EcoPower install. I hope you guys enjoyed this install, and let us know if you got any questions.